While everyone is completely distracted by Kat and Eva's liver transplant surgery, there is a massive ticking time bomb of a secret brewing right in the middle of the waiting room. I am talking about Naomi Hawthorne and Carlton. Did anyone else catch that incredibly tense blink and you miss it interaction between them? Because my jaw is still on the floor and I cannot stop thinking about the devastating implications of what is actually going on behind Naomi's panicked eyes. Let me set the scene for you, because the tension in that hospital is thick enough to cut with a knife. The entire Dupree and Richardson family is pacing the floors, completely agonizing over Kat and Ava. Kat just suffered a massive, life-threatening complication during the surgery. The monitors are beeping, the doctors are rushing in, and Nicole and Ted are practically hyperventilating. The sheer trauma in that building is overwhelming. But right in the middle of this absolute nightmare, Carlton walks up to Naomi. He looks at her with that deep, professional, yet incredibly concerned therapist look, and he asks her a very simple question. Why did she cancel her last counseling session? Oh my God. The way Naomi reacted, it was like a bucket of ice water was dumped over her head. She immediately looked around the room like a cornered animal, absolutely terrified that someone was going to hear them. She practically shushed him right then and there. She told him that she would deal with it later and that this was absolutely not the place to talk about it. Her defensive, panicked energy was screaming off the screen. And I was sitting on my couch screaming right back at my television. Why is she acting so sketchy? Because, my friends, Naomi is carrying a secret that could completely shatter her world, and she is terrified that the truth is going to slip out. We all know what this is really about. It is not just about a canceled therapy appointment. It is about the BRCA gene. Yes, Naomi has tested positive for the BRCA gene, and she is absolutely terrified that someone in her family is going to find out her devastating secret. Can you even imagine the psychological weight this poor girl is carrying right now? The BRCA gene mutation is a massive, life-altering diagnosis that drastically increases the risk of breast and ovarian cancer. We already know that her mother, Dani, has been dealing with this terrifying genetic reality. And now, the nightmare has officially been passed down to Naomi. I am so incredibly heartbroken for her. I have been watching Naomi struggle to keep her family together, worrying sick about her husband Jacob's dangerous undercover mission with the plasma ring, and now she is dealing with this massive medical trauma all by herself. Well, not completely by herself. As of right now, there are only 2 people on the face of the planet who know the truth about Naomi's positive BRCA test results, Carlton and Ashley. And honestly, thank God for them. Carlton is her counselor, and Ashley is a brilliant nurse and a trusted friend. Naomi specifically swore both of them to absolute secrecy. She made them promise not to breathe a word of this to anyone, and so far, they have kept their mouths shut. But you can tell Carlton is deeply worried about her mental state. He knows that bearing this kind of medical trauma is a recipe for an absolute psychological breakdown. But let us dive into why Naomi is fighting so hard to keep this a secret right now. It is actually so tragic and so selfless that it makes me want to cry. Naomi looks around that hospital waiting room, and what does she see? She sees her entire family completely falling apart. She sees Leslie having a mental breakdown over Eva. She sees Ted and Nicole paralyzed with fear because Kat's heart rate just spiked on the operating table. Naomi knows that her family is currently living through their worst nightmare. They need to focus every single ounce of their energy and prayers on Kat and Ava. Naomi is actively choosing to swallow her own terror, her own grief, and her own medical crisis because she refuses to add another tragedy to her family's plate right now. Is anyone else just completely blown away by her selflessness? But at the same time, I am so frustrated with her. Naomi, you cannot do this alone. You cannot just push down the terror of a BRCA positive diagnosis while sitting in a hospital waiting room surrounded by medical emergencies. It is going to eat her alive. She canceled her counseling session because she literally cannot cope with the reality of her diagnosis, and she is using Kat's surgical crisis as the ultimate excuse to avoid facing her own mortality. It is a classic avoidance coping mechanism, And Carlton sees right through it. That is exactly why he approached her. He knows she is running away from the truth. But here is where my brain completely short-circuited and where the drama is about to hit an absolute boiling point. While Naomi is frantically shushing Carlton and begging him to drop the subject, who else has been lurking around the hospital corridors today? Andre? Yes, Andre Richardson. Let us not forget that Andre literally just overheard Danny and Vanessa whispering about Danny's secret affair in that very same hospital. Andre has practically become the resident eavesdropper of Garland Memorial. What if Andre was standing just a few feet away, obscured by a corner or a vending machine, and he heard the entire exchange between Naomi and Carlton? I am literally pacing my living room just thinking about this. Imagine Andre hearing Carlton ask about the counseling session and hearing Naomi's panicked whisper about keeping a secret. Andre is not stupid. He is incredibly observant, and he loves Naomi like she is his own flesh and blood. If he heard even a snippet of that conversation, his protective father figure instincts are going to go into maximum overdrive. Will Andre question her? You better believe he will. Andre is already on high alert because Danny has been acting super sketchy and panicked since the tornado. His nerves are completely shot. If he suspects Naomi is in trouble, he is not going to let it go. Let us talk about the absolute emotional devastation that would happen if Andre confronts Naomi. I can picture this scene perfectly. Andre pulling Naomi into an empty hospital room, looking her dead in the eye, and asking her what she is hiding from Carlton. Naomi would try to lie. She would try to brush it off, just like she did with Carlton. But Andre would push. He would tell her that he loves her and that she does not have to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. And guys, I genuinely think Naomi would completely break down. The dam would break. She is so exhausted, so terrified, and so emotionally drained that if Andre gives her a safe space, she is going to sob into his arms and confess the terrifying truth. I have the BRCA gene. Andrew's reaction would be gut-wrenching. We have to remember Andre's history here. Andre is deeply, profoundly terrified of the BRCA gene because of his wife, Danny. We already know from the story that Andre has confessed his deepest fears to Chelsea about potentially losing Danny to the BRCA gene. He has already lived through the horrific trauma of losing both of his parents in a plane crash. He knows what sudden, devastating loss feels like. The idea of the women he loves, his wife and his stepdaughter, carrying a genetic mutation that could take them away from him is his ultimate nightmare. Hearing Naomi confess that she tested positive would feel like a physical blow to his chest. But you know what? As much as it would break Andre's heart, I desperately want this confrontation to happen. Naomi needs someone in her family to know. She needs Andre to wrap his arms around her and tell her that they are going to fight this together. Andre would be the perfect person to find out. First, he would not make it about himself. He would not panic in a way that burdens Naomi. He would instantly go into protective mode. He would probably promise to keep her secret from Danny until Kat's medical crisis is over, but he would absolutely refuse to let Naomi suffer in silence anymore. He would be her rock. And let us talk about the ripple effect this is going to have on the rest of the canvas. What happens when Danny eventually finds out? Danny is going to be completely crushed with maternal guilt. She is going to blame herself for passing this genetic mutation down to her beautiful daughter. The emotional scenes between Danny and Naomi are going to be Emmy-worthy. I am calling it right now. Carla Mosley and Ariel Prepati are going to act the absolute house down when that truth finally comes to light. And what about Jacob? Jacob is currently running around town playing a dangerous game of cops and robbers with the impaler and the plasma ring, completely oblivious to the fact that his wife is facing a massive health crisis. Jacob is so consumed by his PTSD and his need to avenge Derek's death that he is completely neglecting the woman standing right in front of him. When Jacob finally finds out that Naomi has been hiding a positive BRCA diagnosis while he was off playing rogue detective, the guilt is going to destroy him. It might actually be the wake-up call. Jacob desperately needs to drop this reckless crusade and focus on his family. I am just so incredibly invested in this storyline. The writers of Beyond the Gates are absolutely torturing this family, and I am here for every single second of the drama. The way they are weaving these medical storylines together is brilliant. You have Eva needing a liver, Kat risking her life to give it to her, Kat flatlining on the table, and Naomi silently suffering with a cancer gene in the background. It is a masterclass in soap opera storytelling. But seriously, I need to know what you guys think. Am I completely crazy for thinking Andre overheard them? Do you think Naomi is going to confess to Andre, or is she going to keep pushing everyone away until she completely breaks down? And how long do you think Carlton and Ashley can keep this massive secret before their professional ethics force them to intervene? Drop your theories in the comments below because my mind is spinning and I need to talk to people who understand this obsession. Do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on all the Fairmont Crest drama. We are in for a wild ride this summer, and I will be right here breaking down every single shocking twist and turn with you. Until next time, stay safe, stay drama-free in your real lives, and keep watching the gates.